Call today's meeting of County Council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Optional prayer invocation, Ms. Law.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. We have a life-changing decision to affect all citizens of Erie County today. Help us to have calm heads and look to the future and try to understand what we will change for our citizens in their future. Help us to make the right decision today and in all the upcoming meetings. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Law. Roll call, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Horton? Mr. DiMatteo?
Here.
Mrs. Fatico?
Here.
Dr. Faust? Here. Mr. Leone?
Here.
Mrs. Law?
Here.
Chairman Brenneman?
Here. And I would note that Mr. Horton is on the phone, but maybe there's some technical issues, and we'll ensure that we get him back on. Okay.
You get it back.
I think it's mildly important he's on the line.
Yeah.
Hearing of the public. Since we don't have anybody that called ahead on this, and it is a special meeting though, but anybody from the public is welcome to speak. You'll have 3 minutes. Please come to the podium and use the microphone, and first come, first serve. And when you come to the podium, please give your name and your municipality.
Hi, I'm Pascal Holminski. I live in Fairview, PA. I'm the chairman of the Elderly and Disabled for Erie County. The reason I came today is to remind you of past history. I made some copies for you to keep of the ordinance that was seconded by Mr. Fleone, granting the EMTA permanent ownership of the paratransit. And I have partial minutes that you can have on record from when it began in December of 1993 and ended in December of 1997. It took that long to convince the EMTA board to pick up the broken fleet, your debt, and make it whole again. Again, I'm not taking sides. I just want you to not forget history. I lived through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I want to see the good continue. Thank you. Any questions? You have my information from previous talkings, and I'll be glad to turn it in to Doug here. Come on, girl.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public would like to speak, please come to the podium. Your name and municipality, please.
My name is Eugene Sorrentino. I live in Girard Township. Carol Lull represents me, except in this case. The city is playing brinksmanship with you people, and they've done it in my entire life. They're playing games because they're going to bully you into doing what they want. They have already authorized their attorney to seek, lawsuits, whatever they have to do to force the issue. You, in turn, are going to have to pay an attorney to fight with them or to argue with them for your side. Who pays for all this? The taxpayers. Because your attorney is my employee, their attorney is my employee. And I think it's time that you stopped it, override the veto, tell them, do what you have to do, and if you want to talk to us, you got our phone numbers. Enough is enough. We can't afford any more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Going once? Twice? Okay, moving on.
There are no minutes.
There are no minutes. Reports of county officials, county executive, and or her designee.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Lee.
Gary Lee, Director of Administration, Erie County. The county executive is traveling on today. She asked me to come and to reiterate on her behalf that the vote that you have before you, as you are aware, is an extremely serious vote. We really do believe that it should be regional transportation based on Destination Erie and based on the feedback from the citizens. And as you know, that was a $1.8 million investment as far as getting the community involved. And one of the key issues was transportation. So she, as well as the administration, feels very, very deeply about this particular subject, and we really believe that it should be regionalized, and we really believe that, as all believe, that it should be looking out for the riders of this great region of ours. So we ask that you just reconsider today your vote as far as it pertains to the override of the veto. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. As that we don't have any reports for the Finance or Personnel Committees, are there any reports of council? I don't believe anybody spoke before. Do we have Mr. Horton on the line yet?
We do have him back.
Okay. Mr. Horton, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to number 7, old business.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Leon.
move to override the veto.
We have a motion to override the veto by Mr. Leon, a second by Dr. Faust. Any discussion?
Yes.
Ms. Fatika.
Mr. Chairman. When my husband, as a member of County Council, was working to resolve the EMTA charter renewal, I brought to his attention the residents of the county who were in need of transportation services, the residents of all of the county. These were my patients, my clients, and their family members. I had personal knowledge of Mill Creek residents who needed transportation to Penn State Barron, Corey resident who needed transportation to access mental health and counseling services, and the City of Erie residents who had to decline jobs due to lack of transportation. This is just a few examples. Based upon Mayor Sinnott's irresponsible plan for EMTA's future, I am fearful that the mayor will hold municipalities hostage and harm the very people who need transportation services the most. With all due respect to all of the work and dedication of my colleagues, I will vote not to override the county executive's veto.
Thank you, Ms. Fatika. Thank you, Ms. Fatika. Anyone else? Dr. Faust.
Just very quickly, I'd like to reiterate what Mr. Sarantino said. I think he hit the issue right on the nail right on the head, to be quite honest with you. In regard to, lift services, et cetera, that's a good point. We haven't talked a lot about that. This county is still committed to providing those services. We are contractually obligated to do so, and we are not walking away from that whatsoever, and those services will be funded into the future.
Thank you, Dr. Faust. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Horton.
Yes. After a year and a half of negotiating with our because you can't negotiate with anyone else if they don't appear, I still am going to vote to override the veto. I'm exercising the wisdom of Solomon because, we were battered with, we're going to put the second phase, $36 million in jeopardy. We're going to be jobs going to be lost. It's going to be the economic impact. And, of course, we all were worried about the interruption of rider services. We've operated in good faith. We stated that we didn't want to do anything with the operations or the plans. We simply wanted to fund it and to be compensated equitably, as in most parts of the world, if not all parts of the world, according to our investment. So we've been mischaracterized. Every time I hear them talking about control and take over control, it bothers me because of the negative connotation, and that was never our intent. I, too, echo Dr. Faust's sentiments about what occurred at our ad hoc meeting with our city counterpart. They left there. We even talked about how we would leave their messaging point for the city and the county. And so, as with the biblical story of the woman who lost her baby, so 2 women had the baby. One of them died. One claimed the other. Solomon said, rather than to cut the baby in half, I just as soon give it to him. And that's my position here, too. I don't want to cut the baby in half. I don't want to put the $30 million in jeopardy. I don't want to put any of the employees out of work. And we are responsible for the list. But I think the time has come for us to let go. That's my thing.
Thank you, Mr. Horton. Mr. DiMatteo.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I guess as I said earlier, and I won't bore my council members with my ramblings from earlier, but just for some of the people who weren't here, I guess this is very difficult for all of us. And I look at it in some of the comments that it becomes a political football. You know, if we override it, we've sided with the mayor and the city. If we don't override it, we side with the county executive. Nothing could be further from the truth. You know, I think as Dr. Faust had said, you know, we override this, we move forward, we can sit down at any time with the city and renegotiate this. We can do that. My problem, though, now, and not that I disagree, is if they weren't willing to sit down and talk with us now, what makes us think that's going to happen at any time in the future? New mayor or not. But again, we don't know. We don't know that. All right? Again, as I had said, we provide approximately 10% of the financing. PennDOT provides 90% in the federal government. But here we are, the smallest person in the room, making the decision for PennDOT because they don't want to make the political decision. This almost becomes like the state budget of last year. Let's just keep pushing it further and further and further, and hopefully it will take care of itself, or it will come back on us, okay, to make the decision for them. And whatever happens, happens. The more I think about this, and just in the last hour or so, if we vote to override this, I don't think we regionalize. I think we throw it right back to the city. And we give the city exactly what they want. Now, and I'll be quite honest, you know, I've talked to city council members in the past couple of weeks too. They've told me in the past they want to sit down and they want to talk. Again, I'll believe it when I see it. But at the end of the day, I truly do believe that if this goes another 6 weeks and September 14th rolls around, I don't know if the state of Pennsylvania is going to send York County up here. The state of Pennsylvania is going to have to make some pretty hard decisions as to what's going to take place. Will there be a disruption of service? I don't know, and God, I hope it really doesn't happen. But if we vote to override this, I can't say that that's going to happen either. There's, again, too many unanswered questions that the state isn't willing to answer. What happens on the 14th if we override? What happens on the 14th if we don't? They won't answer those questions. I have an issue with that. So I guess going forward, my vote will be no, I will not override. You know what, at times you change your mind. I have to do what I feel comfortable with at the end of the day. I can't do it for what I perceive as to be political reasons. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. DiMatteo. Anyone else? Mr. Smith, call for the votes.
Mr. Chairman, before you do, remember a yes vote means to override and a no vote means not to override. Thank you.
Thank you,
Wait
Mr.
a minute.
Leon.
Say that again.
A yes,
Yeah.
a yes vote overrides, a no
Overrides, a no
vote
vote.
doesn't override.
On the override of resolution number 31, 2016, Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. DiMatteo,
No.
Mrs. Fatika,
No.
Dr. Faust,
Yes?
Mr. Leon,
Yes.
Mrs. Law,
No.
Chairman Brenneman.
Yes,
Override fails.
Move to adjourn.
we stand adjourned.